Have you ever wanted to get that classic D&D fix from a video game, but just don't have the time to learn the complex mechanics of titles like Pillars of Eternity? Well, if you have, then you're in luck. So why don't you gather your party as we help you answer the question, should you play Gordian Quest? When first entering Gordian Quest, you pick your starting character. Suddenly, you are thrust into the middle of things, trying to save a town. And that's about it. Don't get me wrong, there are more story elements for different sections later on, but upon entering Gordian Quest, the story is very simple and depends on you doing little quests rather than having an actual storyline. The story for Gordian Quest is probably its weakest point. That's not to say the story is terrible, just that compared to the rest of the game, the story is relatively basic. When first playing Gordian Quest, it's very obvious that this is a title created with D&D elements. And even though it's fun and interesting, story-wise, it becomes very repetitive with all the dungeon diving. Personally, I quickly found myself not paying much attention to the story because I found it a bit predictable and obvious. The story isn't a disaster, it just isn't the main reason to play the game. Before we continue, if you've enjoyed this review so far, be sure to hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell, because we've got more reviews like this every single week. Now let's get back to the review. The gameplay is where Gordian Quest shines. This is an incredibly fun deck builder. You start with choosing your first character and very quickly end up recruiting more to fill out your party. Each character depends on 3 stats: strength, dexterity, and intelligence. Just like in D&D, these stats also determine how good the characters are in their particular class. Spell users depend on intelligence, warriors on strength, archers and rogues on dexterity. As you advance through the story, you have to investigate all the locations around the town centre, whether they be dungeons or enemies. However, that's not all there is. You can also find markers that get you to perform actions that depend on your character's abilities and modifiers, as well as little maps you can explore to find some lovely goodies. It's also a good idea to pay attention to all the elements in town and out in the world. If you find that you're running out of health, you can always build a camp and perform duties or use special skills. Or you can return to the town centre and heal yourself up with some prayer or a good night's sleep at the inn. Not to mention you can also better your equipment at the blacksmiths or buy runes to add buffs. You have to take all of this into account. A lot of equipment ends up giving you extra action cards. However, they don't always have the correct rune slot for your character, so this means that you have to amend that equipment. It's all up to you how you want to kit your characters out. As you probably already know, the main part of the game is deck building. Even though it has a very simple premise, it is also a lot of fun. Each character starts with a certain number of cards with different functions, whether it be guarding yourself, dealing damage, or even adding a buff. As you go through the fights, you use these cards to destroy all who come before you. But be careful, however, as when you use these cards to help get a better modifier on an action roll, you will gain a point of exhaustion. The best part is that you can improve not only your characters through their skill tree, but also improve their cards and apply special perks as well. There is so much to consider when leveling up your characters. The world design for Gordian Quest is on par with its gameplay. Firstly, the design of the game looks amazing. I just absolutely love the animation style. The characters' animations and the way the map, town, and dungeons look are just awesome. It is also very basic. Well, mostly. The crafting system can get a little complicated, but mostly it's a very easy game to play. The best part about Gordian Quest is the whole atmosphere just feels like a D&D deck builder. Now, while games like Pathfinder Kingmaker may promote some very D&D-like elements, they do tend to be more complicated and take a while to understand the mechanics. Gordian Quest, on the other hand, achieves that D&D feel without a lot of complexity. So, should you play Gordian Quest? For me, it's a resounding yes. Gordian Quest has some great easy gameplay with an interesting world, awesome animation style, and immense D&D vibes. The story is a little basic, but it does just enough to move you on. This is the perfect game to just pick up and play to get your D&D fix, and for that alone, this game is worth a shot. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree with our review? What is your opinion on Gordian Quest? And if you haven't already, head on over to our website, thebetanetwork.net, for more gaming news and reviews.